So, this is a really hard story to tell, and I actually just now learned the full extent of what happened tonight in my adulthood. Like, I've always known most of the story, but I was just told the full extent by my 80-something-year-old aunt because she's always tried to protect me. And I want to share with you why I'm afraid of police. There's really something in my eye, so that's great. Okay. So basically, I was about 6 years old. Seemingly I was either just about to turn 6 or just turned 6. It escapes me right now, but I feel like I just turned 6. And anyway, I went into my aunt's house. It was a little apartment. My grandma was with me, and she was sitting down, and there was this like clink while she was holding her glass. She's holding a drink, but it had a stir in it, and you could just, basically she was like unsteady for a second. So you're like at attention. And her face was completely blank. I mean, just completely it's normally smiley or vibrant, and it went blank. So I had felt from the feeling of coming in uneasiness, but I was still just enough of a kid that I didn't want to be bothered by the feeling of uneasiness. And it was like, okay, no, I just want to play. So I could feel also, though, the need to be kind of close to my family. So I stayed in the living room while my aunt starts telling a story. And because I stayed in the room, or rather because I went back in the room, this story the language became more kid-friendly or what have you. But the concern was over a car. See, I had a cousin that, he'd worked as a plumber his whole life, and he just wanted a new car this time. And there's so much hubbub about, buying a new car because it's just safer if you just get a used one. And I at 5 or 6 years old, didn't understand why it would be safer to buy a used car. His concerns were, it breaking down, and it's like, yeah, get a new one. But it was such a big issue to get a new car. So anyway, my cousin went ahead and bought a new car, and he was taking it out. He had just got it. It was not very long that he had it, and he got pulled over, and they'd accused him of being on drugs or selling drugs. They pulled him out of the car, and they handcuffed him with his hands behind his back, which, as you know, Floyd was like that, and at this point, it's like, I'm not like 5,000% sure it was behind his back anymore. Maybe it was the front, but seemingly the original story was behind his back. I just didn't have the guts to ask today again. But he was handcuffed, and they beat him to death. But then they took him to the hospital, and there was a superstition at the time, pretty much, about bringing in dead bodies. So they didn't allow him to be admitted because he was already dead. And so sorry, the hospital scene is the scene that I just now learned in my adulthood. But what I knew as a little girl is if you drive, you have a high likelihood. I feared that, especially a new car. So I'm over 30 years old right now, and I still don't drive. In part because I have cerebral palsy, but in part because that's my deep-seated fear. And never admitted this, but anyway, as a kid when we would get pulled over, I would throw up because I thought they were just gonna, like, every time I'd see them, and it just became a general fear of police because I honestly believed that if you just drive, you have a high chance of being pulled over. And owning a new car, it's like it calls attention to yourself to get pulled over because why is your car new? You must have stole it. Like, that was the consensus then, or you're a drug dealer. And even though I would know I wouldn't do those things, why can't I own a new car? It just is too scary for me. Because that's why my cousin's dead. He didn't make the news, and to my knowledge, there was not Black Lives Matter at the time. So, my aunt just had to help raise my younger cousins. They just had to just move forward. And yeah, basically it's so I just wanted to share that story. Thanks for watching. And sorry I got emotional. Have a good night. And no, before I go, I want to let you know, crazily enough, after that, I'm afraid of cops, but I still don't want people to die, including cops. I don't want anyone to die. I'm still afraid of cops, and yet I don't want them to just die, and I don't want them to just kill people. I want people to literally follow the law on both ends. And even if you get arrested, it shouldn't mean that you can lose your life. And I don't know how things got to where they are today, but I just wanted to share that story. Thanks for watching. Good night.